In the year 1337, Europe believed wars were short. Kings fought, armies marched, treaties followed. This war did not end. It learned how to continue. On this channel, we tell stories where history does not rush. Stories shaped not by heroes alone, but by systems, pressure, and decisions made slowly, often unwillingly, because the past was not dramatic by design. It was inevitable. This is not just a story about England and France fighting for a throne. It is a story about why medieval Europe never returned to the old way of war, why kings stopped fighting like knights, and why a conflict that should have ended in months instead restructured power for generations. The real question is not why the 100 Years' War started. It is why it could not stop. To understand this war, we need to begin with something deceptively simple. France was not a unified country. England was not fully English. In the early 14th century, the map of Western Europe did not resemble modern borders. Power was layered, overlapping, and deeply personal. Land did not belong to nations. It belonged to families. The English king was also a French noble, not symbolically, legally for generations. English monarchs held vast territories inside France, Aquitaine, Gascony, Normandy, before it was lost. These lands were inherited, traded, married into existence, and with them came a dangerous contradiction. The King of England owed loyalty to the King of France, not as an equal ruler, but as a vassal. This arrangement worked only as long as both sides pretended it made sense. But by the 1300s, that pretense was collapsing. France was becoming more centralized. Its kings were learning how to tax, to administer, to command loyalty beyond feudal custom. England, meanwhile, was becoming more financially aggressive. Its parliament had discovered leverage. Its kings needed war to justify taxation. Both systems were changing, and both were incompatible. Then, in 1328, the French royal line broke. King Charles IV of France died without a male heir. This was not unusual. What followed was Edward III of England was Charles's closest male relative. His claim passed through his mother, Isabella of France. By strict bloodline logic, Edward had a claim, but France did not choose logic. It chose stability. The French nobles invoked select law, a selective interpretation of tradition that barred inheritance through the female line. They crowned Philip VI, a cousin, safe, French, present. Edward accepted this decision publicly. Privately, he did not forget it. For years, nothing happened. No armies, no declarations. This delay matters, because the 100 Years' War did not begin with anger. It began with restraint. Edward was young. England was unstable. France was strong, so Edward waited. And during that waiting, something changed. Philip VI began asserting authority over English-held lands in France. Summons were issued. Legal challenges followed. Confiscations threatened. This was not war. It was administration. And it was intolerable. In 1337, Edward III did something irreversible. He declared himself the rightful king of France, not as an act of conquest, but as a legal claim. This distinction would define the next century. Most wars begin with invasion. This one began with paperwork. Edward's declaration was not backed by overwhelming force. England did not have the manpower to conquer France outright. What it had instead was strategy rather than occupying territory. England would raid it. This method had a name, the chevauchée fast. Moving mounted forces would burn villages, destroy crops, terrorize populations, and retreat before engagement. The goal was not land, it was pressure. French kings believed war was decided by a decisive battle. England believed war could be decided by economics. This was the first turning point because it forced France into a dilemma. Ignore the raids and your people suffer. Confront them and risk battle on English terms. Philip VI chose confrontation. In Issy-en-Sélé, at Crécy, the old system collapsed. French knights charged as they always had. Honor demanded it. Tradition required it. English longbowmen stood their ground. They did not charge. They did not chase glory. They waited. The arrows did not win the battle alone. Terrain mattered. Discipline mattered. Command mattered. But the result was unmistakable. The French army shattered itself. Crécy was not just a defeat, it was a revelation. The age of knightly dominance was ending. But France did not learn this lesson quickly. Wars rarely teach immediately. After Crécy came Calais. After Calais came Poitiers. After Poitiers, something unthinkable happened. In 1356, the French king, John II, was captured. A medieval kingdom without its king was not just leaderless, it was conceptually broken. Ransoms were negotiated. Taxes increased, peasant revolts erupted. The Jacquerie was not a footnote, it was a warning. France was bleeding internally while England pressed externally, and yet the war did not end, because England could not finish it. The English crown was rich by medieval standards, but not infinite. Campaigns were expensive. Supply lines stretched. Garrisons needed pay. France, though damaged, was larger, more populous, more resilient. So the war shifted, from conquest to containment, from kings to councils, from glory to exhaustion. Then came disease. The Black Death did not choose sides. Between 1347 and 1351, Europe lost perhaps a third of its population. Armies vanished, villages emptied, revenue collapsed. The war paused, not by treaty but by absence. And when it resumed, it was different. Both kingdoms had learned restraint, not wisdom, restraint. Battles became rarer. Raids continued. Negotiations stalled. The Treaty of Bretigny in 1360 was supposed to end it. England gained vast lands. Edward renounced the French crown, at least on paper. Peace returned briefly because the systems that caused the war were still intact. Land ownership remained tangled, feudal obligations remained unclear, and memory remained sharp. Within a decade, war resumed. This second phase was quieter, less dramatic, more effective for France. Under Charles V, the French avoided pitched battles. They harassed, they defended, they reclaimed territory slowly. England, plagued by internal unrest and aging leadership, lost momentum. By 1389, another truce. By 1396, another, and then silence. For nearly a generation, the war slept, not ended. Waiting when the war returned in the 15th century, it did so under different rules. England was unstable. Richard II had been deposed. The Lancastrian kings needed legitimacy. War provided it. Henry V did not invade France because it was wise. He invaded because it was necessary. In 1415, at Agincourt, England repeated the pattern. Outnumbered, disciplined, prepared, the French charged. The English waited. Mud replaced terrain. Arrows replaced lances. The result was catastrophic for France. But unlike Crécy, Agincourt did not shatter the French system. It exposed its vulnerability and forced reform. France adapted not immediately, but structurally. The crown centralized taxation. Standing armies emerged. Artillery replaced tradition. England, meanwhile, overextended. Holding territory required men. Men required money. Money required political unity. England lacked it. The final phase of the war was not decided by Joan of Arc alone. She mattered, but she did not build the system that followed. What mattered more was that France learned how to fight wars as states, not as noble coalitions. By 1453, England had lost all significant holdings in France except Calais. The war ended not with a treaty, but with exhaustion. No declaration, no ceremony, just silence. The 100 Years' War changed Europe by accident. It ended the medieval way of war. It weakened feudalism. It strengthened national identity. England emerged more insular, focused inward, defined by the Channel. France emerged centralized, sovereign and militarized. Kings learned that legitimacy came not just from blood, but from administration. Armies learned that discipline mattered more than valor, and people learned that war could last longer than a lifetime. This conflict did not shape one generation, it shaped memory. For a century, children were born into war and died before it ended. No one remembered its beginning. That alone should tell us something. The 100 Years' War was not a mistake. It was a system functioning exactly as designed until it redesigned everything around it. History does not change when someone wins. It changes when old rules stop working.